Hello, friends of Southern Sports Focus, and it was an interesting New Year's Day, well, New Year's Eve night and New Year's Day for the quarterfinals of the college football playoff, wasn't it? And did you notice in a lot of these games, it was kind of the old school mentality that won it? Some days the old ways are the best, and we saw that in 3 of the 4 games of the quarterfinals. Miami versus Ohio State, nothing flashy. The Canes didn't even rack up 300 total yards on offense. It was a competent running game, stifling defense that forced 2 turnovers, scored a touchdown, and overmatched the OSU offensive line. The Buckeyes can never get in a rhythm. Julian Sayin threw 2 interceptions. Jeremiah Smith had a big game, but other than that, the Ohio State offense was pretty well contained, and they failed in their bid to go back-to-back as the Canes dominated the line of scrimmages and was able to get it done, winning 24-14. Oregon versus Texas Tech, again, nothing flashy. The Ducks barely over 300 yards of total offense, but they dominated a Red Raider offense that came in as one of the top statistically in the nation. The Ducks created 4 turnovers. They had 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss. The Red Raiders were shut out. They just did not have any answers, and the Ducks advanced. And Texas Tech, along with the rest of the Big 12, just not doing very well in the college football playoff. And speaking of no answers, the Alabama offense, they continue to struggle. During the Nick Saban era at Alabama, we heard the phrase Joyless Murderball quite a bit. And in that game, it still has a place. Joyless Murderball, still relevant in today's college football landscape, but now its home base seems to reside in Bloomington, Indiana. Kirk Cignetti is just that guy. Yeah, he is surly. He's a bit of a jerk. And near the end of the Bama game, I promise you, he started to smile, and it was almost like he realized what he was doing, and he put that perpetual scowl back into his face. But he has turned one of the worst programs in college football history into the favorite to win the national championship, and he did it the way we used to see Bama do things, just imposing their will and making the other team quit. It happened. The Tide pretty much quit in that game. The Hoosiers dominated, and they are on to the college football semifinal, again with Ohio State losing, now probably the betting favorite. And finally, the last game of the day, it was different. Ole Miss and Georgia, it was a little bit more of an offensive shootout. The Georgia offense, they put up some points, but they kind of struggled with consistency at time. There were some mistakes, and while Bama got a lot of flack for their embarrassing performance, rightly so, let's talk about the Dogs. In the rematch, Kirby Smart's team could not pull it off versus an Ole Miss squad that saw their head coach leave for Baton Rouge, and with the majority of at least their offensive staff with a foot out the door, only around till the Reb season ends. Pete Golding did something that Lane Kiffin could not do this season, beat Georgia. And while Little Game Lane is trying to set up things in Baton Rouge, the Rebels are still competing for a national championship. The Rebs basically reversed things from their first encounter during the fourth quarter. Instead of being outscored 17-0 like they were earlier this year in Athens, they managed a 20-10 advantage in the fourth, advancing to the semis and sending the Dogs home in their first game of the playoff for the second straight season. So now, teams like Alabama and Georgia, they are searching for answers. What's next? For Bama, they've got to make some staff changes. Now, I'm not sure I'm in that camp of firing Ryan Grubbs just yet, but they have to get a new offensive line coach at least, because we've seen for 2 years now, this offensive line with supposedly all this great talent, just looking overmatched in just about every game they play in, aside from, the G5 and the FCS teams. It's a miracle they won 10 games with that offensive line. And they've got to get a new offensive line coach at least, because it's just not working. They've underperformed. That staff position has to be changed. And getting some talent from the portal in the O-line, maybe filling some defensive spots, especially like linebacker, with the talent they're losing, that is going to be a must as well. Georgia, I'm not sure a ton of change is needed. The Dogs had a young team at some very key spots. Kirby has the foundation for another possible run. But there are some things that are going to have to be looked at. Zachariah Branch, Noah Thomas, Colby Young, they could all be NFL draft entries at the playmaker spots offensively. And defensive leader C.J. Allen is expected to forego his final season at linebacker. So some fine-tuning in the portal might be needed, but I don't think they're going to need a ton of change. There are some things that are going to be adjusted. They have to have a little more consistency on the offense, because we've just seen it go a little dormant at times this year. But all in all, I think the Dogs are pretty well set for 2026. But again, yesterday, the games someone is expected. But I was shocked Texas Tech was shut out. I wasn't surprised Oregon won, and just what Indiana did to Alabama. I mean, even as a Bama fan, uh, I was not surprised to see Alabama lose that game, but just to be completely dominated, to be kind of listless in the second half. I mean, there are very few bright spots there. The only one that you might could look at would be Austin Mack came in the second half, and he played fairly competently. So maybe if Ty Simpson transfers or declares the NFL draft, I don't really see him doing either one, but it might be for his benefit and Alabama's as he does. I don't know. I'm not going to go completely into those weeds in this, but there's got to be some answers for these teams that lost. Texas Tech, they'll probably continue to ransack the portal, use that NIL money to fill in key spots, and maybe hope to advance in the playoff next season. And then for Ohio State, I mean, what can you say? Maybe some help along the offensive line. They'll have some portal departures. They already have. They'll bring in some talent in the portal. We'll see a lot of this clear up when the portal closes later this month. But now we go to the semifinals, and we have some really good teams left, but not many of them with any kind of championship pedigree history. In fact, really none of them with a deep championship pedigree history, except for Miami. They haven't won anything since 2001. So, as a Bama fan, I would like to see my team advance, but since that didn't happen, it's kind of cool to see some new faces in there and see what happens and see what style, which one of these teams prevails. But we'll see a new national champion, and we might see one that's been crowned for the very first time. If you demand for me to make a pick right now, I got to go with Indiana. I think with the running game, with that defense, just how good Kurt Cignetti and that staff is on the sidelines, that's the prediction for right now. I think that your next national champion will be the Indiana Hoosiers. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and thank you for watching this edition of Southern Sports Focus.